Welcome to the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life podcast. On today's podcast, I'm going to talk about a party that my husband and I threw. And I'm going to get my husband and I talk about setting up the party and the whole party atmosphere prior to the party starting. So you're going to hear that. And then I'm going to tell you about what happened at the party. And then there's like a snippet of something that I'm starting to write that I'm throwing in just to gauge reaction. So here we are, getting ready for another party at the hotel. So what has been your takeaway from the parties?
I love them. I think they're excellent. It's a great way to meet people in a group atmosphere, safe atmosphere. We've had a great time in hosting them, although it takes away a bit of the fun at times. Ensures that we have exactly the time we want. So that helps.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Oh, goodness, sorry. So what are the drawbacks of the parties for you? Hosting the parties.
It's just a lot of preparation. You have to make sure you're carrying the ball and not just go and enjoy. So you got to make sure everything's set up and do all the things and send the messages. And although I like those aspects, those are fun, they do take away from just pure enjoyment.
Okay. And with the parties that we're throwing, there's one particular room setup that we really, really like. And and we have gone and done parties in other hotel room setups. And what's really funny is, okay, so let's tell the story about the last one we threw. We went to a hotel that's not the one we normally go to. And we got adjoining rooms, but the adjoining rooms were immediately next to the front desk.
Yeah, we could have literally yelled down the hall for whatever we needed.
And the problem with that is that the hotels are kind of cracking down on throwing parties. And I'm not entirely sure what their recourse is. I mean, can they ban us from the hotel altogether forever? I mean, what do they do? Do they fine us?
That's what they do. They ban you. They put you on a list where you can't order anymore.
Okay.
You can't register there.
Gotcha.
Which wouldn't be devastating, but it's still, who wants to have all the drama?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm an anti-drama person, so
Me
that
too.
would be my preference. So makes
like-
you nervous.
I like everything to be drama free.
Yeah.
I like all aspects of my life to be free and smooth and clean and easy. So
Unless you do it. Whatever. It's fine.
I said I like it to be, but I didn't say that that's what happens. So basically, with the amount of time that we spend throwing parties, with the amount of time, like, it's a lot of work. It's not just like pop it up and
Yeah, we booked the hotel 2 weeks ago. Had to have a thing about that to make sure we remembered and got it booked, and they were so far out. And then we started setting up for this party, messaging, going back and forth with guests, approving people that wanted to pre-register. I've been doing this for 3 weeks now.
Right.
And then again, we had to do it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and again today.
Yeah.
It's just getting guests approved. And I mean, it's more important to us than most hosts that it's a fun party. It has a good ratio, good mix of human beings. So we're more focused on that than just getting the first 100 people that'll sign up and hopefully they pay and go from there. We're not trying to make money. It'd be great if we just broke even, because we spend a lot of money on getting these all together.
Exactly. So the big thing about these parties is that because we're in control of it, we have the ability to cultivate what it is that we're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And part of the problem that we have, though, is that when you set up a party 2 to 3 weeks out, like we did, we had well over 200 people request to come.
Yeah.
For a party that's maybe
max 30. And I don't like that many in here, to be honest. We were talking about it. We said, a ratio of 7 guys to 1 woman is probably one playing woman.
Right.
Is probably the proper ratio. We get a special room with 2 rooms, total of 3 beds and a suite. So it has a living room, a little kitchen, and then 3 beds, 2 bedrooms, a desk in one of the bedrooms. So there's some room. But even that, you max out pretty quick.
Exactly.
Our normal party host, he where he does them, I actually really like what he can get with the 2 adjoining rooms.
Right.
Because it's basically 2 living rooms, 2 bedrooms. So it gives you that same space we basically have here.
But with a little bit of extra living room space.
But a little extra living room, which gives you some gathering spots. So.
And they also have, if he gets really tight on space, he can convert one of the beds there into a fold out.
One of the couches, yes.
Yeah, one of the couches can become a bed.
Yeah.
So he has extra space for that kind of stuff. If we were to do that here, which we have the option to do it.
Yeah.
If we were to do that here, it would be 0 lounging space, 0 sitting around space.
Plus, you got to be pretty desperate to fuck on a fold-out couch.
Fuck yeah, you do.
I mean, it bars up your ass everywhere. You can't put your knees anywhere. I'd just rather bend over at the wall if that's what we're gonna do. So
it's funny because we actually at one of the parties that we had an adjoining room as opposed to the room we wanted. We actually had to do the fold-out bed, and my friend Kate got stuck on the fold-out bed.
Absolutely.
I felt a little guilty.
Yeah.
Not enough to change beds with her, but
no.
And by the time she got there, my bed was already a disaster area.
Exactly.
A war zone.
Yeah. No, I think the overall why we chose to do this was at times it dies off our normal party host that we like the most, Evening Endeavors. His has gaps in his schedule, and we wanted to fill them, and something close is nice and different. And it gives us an opportunity to accept people that RSVP from the local area, so we can meet local guys that actually do show up to things.
Right.
That's very helpful in our, we don't just play at parties. We like to play at parties, and that's where we start. All interactions at parties is what we've evolved to, I think it's evolved is the right word.
Right.
So it gives us an opportunity to meet people local, because far away is no fun during the week in our area with the commuting areas. It's just, if you were trying to have a date on a Tuesday night and you get off at 5 in northern of where we are, it's an hour drive just to get there.
Exactly.
Then you would have your fun. You'd hope it's at least an hour session. Otherwise, it would just be at home. And then you're an hour back to me. And at that point, it's bedtime, because we both go to bed pretty early because we both wake up really early.
Exactly.
So it gives us an opportunity to maybe find a fun local playmate. And so that's always a bonus for us.
Exactly. Okay. So somebody did have a question. They asked what our rules are.
Our rules today?
No, our rules, just our rules of how we engage.
Our rules today are, wow, pretty soft. It's,
first meeting is always with both of us.
It's always both of us, and it's always been at a party. Is where we've decided that's what we now do, pretty much exclusively.
Right.
Or an event. It could be, we met somebody at a karaoke or a stand-up comedian thing.
Right.
But it, it wasn't a party, but it was an event. It was a group outing. We didn't have to waste our time on the flakes and that bullshit. We didn't have to pay for a hotel room and the son of a bitch not show up. We didn't have to do none of that. I didn't have to get angry at anybody. It was like, hey, at least they had the balls to show, they have interest, they have a real want to actually do this thing. It's not just fantasy land, and that they don't care that it's affecting someone else's life.
Right.
Because it's okay that people live in that land, but don't take it to the point where you're actually setting up dates. Just flirt and chat and then do what you do and back away.
Exactly.
But to go all the way to the point where you set up a date and the whole thing, knowing you're never going to go because you're either not the type of person that would actually do it, or you're actually married and just playing on the side, you're just messing with somebody's life. That's not right.
Right.
So yeah, that's our rule. If we are not exclusive with somebody, meaning testing's done and a committed thing from both people, and condoms are required for all intercourse.
Right.
And so far that's about where we've gotten to.
Right.
We have a couple sexual things that are our own personal things, but those are fluid based on the situation we're in. It's not an actual rule.
Exactly.
For me, I do request that videos or pictures, if I'm not part of the play or at the play, are shared with me, because it is a group event about both of us.
Exactly.
And if I can't be there because of my schedule or what have you, or the spiciness of her going out on her own, it allows me to be part of it in other ways. And I really like posting and sharing my wife on videos and pictures, so it's part of my fun as well.
Exactly. It's part of your reliving.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, that's about where it evolved to. We started with a bunch more.
We did.
And it's basically, it's what you want, it's what she wants, and we talk about it together. We try to find a good person that is good in bed, has good features, doesn't flake.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Doesn't flake, doesn't waste people's time. Down to fuck, frankly. I mean, you're not really a big small talker. You hear about, oh, I got to have a connection, all that. That's not really your thing.
Yeah, I'm not a connection person. And that's not to say that connection is bad, if that is your thing.
No, it's great. It adds.
Yeah.
But it's not a requirement, other than us making sure that it's a sexual connection. It doesn't have to be, you don't need flowers and
romance.
Yeah, you're not looking for romance. You have a husband, and hopefully I'm doing my job and providing that part.
Exactly.
What you're out looking for is straight, hardcore pleasure, sexual pleasure, and then I'm looking for you to be as dirty as you could be, basically. So yeah, that's my enjoyment.
Oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
So where I know that we have been researching places that we can go, places that we can take this, because both of us are very interested in traveling for kink. What places have you been reading about that you're kind of interested in? Maybe I could get some feedback from my audience if they've been there.
Cruises has been probably the number one thing that I've been truly pricing and planning to do in the near future, because I've heard such great things about it. Going Pennsylvania, Ohio, some surrounding states to where we are in the Northeast, New Jersey, probably anywhere except New York, just because I'm not a big fan of going into New York.
Right.
I would like to do 4-day weekends, so I feel those are good travels.
Absolutely.
I think anytime we travel to Vegas in the future, we know what we could do there.
Absolutely.
But I would like to be able to have something that we could either take a puddle jumper plane or a drive in a day, have fun for 2 days, drive back and go back to work the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be ideal. But it's just getting into those communities and figuring out how to make all that work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Because we're Eastern Seaboard, so
Yeah.
we've got a lot close by
Yeah.
that hopefully we might be able to find our way into.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Do you have anything you want to ask me now that you've got me?
No, we hopefully talk about all these things on a one-on-one.
Yeah, we do.
But no, I just want us to have a good time tonight. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We'll check back in tomorrow.
Absolutely.
We'll check back in tomorrow and we'll let you know how it went. The party was very disjointed. There was a lot of lulls in the play as we went through the night because I was trying to make sure that I could make it to the end of the party. For once, I wanted to be somebody who was present at the end. And there were some, the night actually started with several gentlemen who were experiencing the kind of performance anxiety that I was talking about. Whether it was the condoms, whether it was the other people, there was something going on in that room that was sort of like, eek. So there was a lot of oral play when the night first started. And one guy, he was so talented. He used his fingers in conjunction with his tongue and made the whole operation work. He primed the pump and got everything he was looking for. Now, in the past, people have mentioned to me that I should really try to let Josh get the squirt all over his face. And if it was something I was doing, then I would say you're absolutely right. I need to be more cooperative. But in this particular instance, it's not me. I don't squirt when I am by myself. There is something inside of me that needs to be stimulated, and it cannot come just clitoral. It just can't. It's not a clitoris thing. It is the backside of the clitoris, aka the G-spot, that needs to be manipulated, swollen, brought to attention, forced to feel more than anything should. And then that will start to happen. So you're never, ever going to get me to a squirting orgasm clitorally. It's just not going to happen. That's why when I'm a hit, because of the fact that I can, it just happens when you stimulate my G-spot. It's something that the floodwaters will come forth and bathe us all. Believe me, bathe us all. But this guy, he knew that this wasn't something he was going to get with just his mouth. He knew that there was going to have to be some manipulation with his fingers. So he did it, and he was rewarded. The rains fell, or gushed, whatever. The dam broke. He got what he was looking for. And that's the kind of thing that steps up the level of game when it comes to oral. That's why I usually am not a fan, because I don't get a guy who concentrates on the things that are doing the thing that we're all hoping will happen. Because when I get the guy who does the work, who does the 3 different kinds of play all in one location, it is awesome. But it's not something that I can truly explain to someone else how they're doing it, because I'm not down there, okay? Like, I can kind of guide the way, but let's be frank, there's no set path. Sometimes it's over here, and sometimes it's back the other way, and certainly never spread your fingers wide inside of there. That's just weird, and it ends up cutting the sides of your vagina. Just don't do that. And then there are times when like there's all sorts of things that can happen. And that's why when you have a guy who's listening, a guy who's like finding the way, and you're being vocal to guide him, and it works out, it's amazing and it's awesome. So I don't know what to tell you. Most of the time it doesn't work out like that. Most of the time I barely get a clitoral, because I'm really sorry, but my clit's spoiled, okay? My clit is spoiled AF, okay? That girl gets like wands, she gets ice cream cones, she gets all sorts of accoutrement to make her dance the happy dance. Because let's be frank, a wand is amazing. And if I can do that versus my hand, why wouldn't I? Now, that doesn't mean that my hand doesn't get a lot of use, because I have found that when I want to go there, I want to have that orgasm. I want to be party ready. I want to do the things because I'm there to maximize my pleasure. So I've gotten to the point where I'm like, girl, I'm going to go down there with my hand. And believe me, more often than not, I get a soaking wet hand for my for my endeavors, but it ends up working out really, really well. And I'm okay with adding some stimulation to my play. Now, I'm having a rough time with nipple play right now because I am in a certain stage in life where my nipples are not as sensitive as they used to be. And I don't know if the sensitivity is ever going to come back. I don't know if it's ever going to, but I don't get a lot from nipple play right now. And I really miss it. I miss it terribly because there's so many times when guys are like trying to participate and they're playing with my nipples, and I want that to be adding to it instead of they accidentally go too hard and it's a distraction. But I'm really trying to figure out what's going on with my body in this new stage in life so that I can find my way back, because I'd really like to fully participate every ounce of me through this. And because my nipples have become just basically like deadened, I'm having some trouble. So it's something that obviously I am going through a lot of changes right now, and I need to explore what those changes are and figure out how to alter my interpretation of what my body can do right now. But this party was very fucking interesting because it was crazy. Okay. It was past notes and whispers behind hands and lockers along the wall. It was middle school. Okay. There was, oh my God, she likes him so much. And oh my God, why is he so thirsty? And oh my God, like there was a lot of stuff going on that felt very akin to middle school drama, because somebody came in and was like, oh, I want to be with her. And then she was like, well, I want to be with him. And another guy was like, she came with me. And there was a lot going on. And it was very, to me, kind of interesting to watch how grown adults could run down the same path that we did in middle school. It was so, go talk to her for me. I don't understand why she's doing this. Like, there was a lot going on, and it was one of those things that can sometimes happen because you're talking about attraction. You're talking about desire. You're talking about some things are going to be unrequited. That doesn't mean that they didn't play. That doesn't mean that they didn't have fun together. It doesn't mean any of that. What it means is that there was a layer beyond what was beyond the playing that was a factor. There was a lot of emotional, like, longing going on in that room. And not necessarily emotional longing, but physical longing. There was some sort of longing that was not being requited. And I'm okay with the fact that sometimes shit like that happens. I do not want it to ever impede the ability of play. It needs to never become a hindrance to the play, or become so much drama that it, but it was just an interesting thing to observe in the moment. I would totally dish, but I feel like maybe I shouldn't. I feel like maybe I shouldn't gossip about this, but let me check in and find out if this is something I should gossip about. Like, I got to ask consent-wise. Now, it was a very fun evening. But like I said, I was starting and stopping because there was a guy there that was majorly pulling a cannoli move where he just kept coming for me because he was the only one who could really, like, activate the play. And so because he kept coming for me, we kept ending up, and he just was taking a very, very long time. And I was like, normally that's great, but, like, let's move this thing along. Puff, puff, pass, because it really felt like he was Bogart in the punch bowl. And I was forced a couple of different times to stop play so that he would get the message, you need to go find something else to do. I need to give other people the opportunity to come in here and play. So that was one of the things that kept happening. And then I ended up, my friend Q came from, we'd had another party where my friend A, who was also there, was also, like, they had both come to that party. And apparently they'd been hanging out since then, which was great. But Q was a fan of the show. And he and I actually were like, I was actually like, oh my God, I can't believe you listen. And he was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. And it was very interesting. And he is so much fun. I love Q. But we ended up playing, and the reasons that I love Q are very, very, like, apparent when we're playing. He is so talented and so communicative. It is so awesome. And we had such a great time. And Josh was there. Josh and I also played. Josh and I were having some weird moments because there was a lot of new people there. So it ended up being very fun and kind of eye-opening because a lot of the drama that was going on was centered around coming to me, asking me for things. And I'm hosting a party right now. So I'm not going to go and chit chat with people for you. So anyway, it was fun and it was great. So let me get to the end of the night. There was another gentleman who had come. And he and I had played at one of my previous parties as well. And he is a really cool guy, but has a monster cock. Like, monster cock. And he and I had played before, and it was all like, because of the fact that I don't have a cervix, I don't have to stop him from coming in all the way. He can stretch me a lot farther than he could if I had a cervix. So he found that very intriguing. And so he and I did not get to play until the end of the night. But now, mind you, so Q and I were playing at one point, and we were having so much fun. And then I ended up playing with someone else, and they wanted me ass up, face down. So I was ass up, face down, and Q's like, no, I'm getting in on this while I can. Now, the positioning that I was in, I was literally ass up, face down, but I was at the edge of the bed. So by the time Q and I were done, I was sort of hanging, my head was hanging a little bit more off the bed, which ended up giving me, once he gave me the massive fucking orgasm, I ended up getting that orgasm headache. So I ended up having to take some pills and try to like recover from it before I could really play again. So I ended up chit-chatting in the living room with a lady who wasn't playing. And it was interesting. And so there were some people there that I knew from other parties, and I never really got a chance to play with them because of the fact that I was in this headache zone. But then as everybody started piling out, there was some play still going on. And I was called into the room at the request of A, and she was like, I want to see you play with him. And so this was the guy who was very who I had played with before, who has the monster cock. And he rolled over on his back and he pointed this thing straight at the sky. And I said, oh no. There's absolutely no way that I'm going to impale myself on that spike. If you want to impale me with it, that's absolutely fine. But there's no way that I'm going to be able to climb on top of that thing and not get dizzy. That's too high. And so everybody was giggled. And then we rolled over and he fucked me. And he fucked me like he wanted to be fucking. And it was fucking awesome. I mean, it was great. And meanwhile, he's on my other side getting fucked by the guy who was Bogart in the Punch Bowl earlier. And they were really going at it, and it was freaking awesome. It was a pile of bodies. I had a cock in each hand. I had a cock in my mouth. I had not a cock in each hand. I had a cock in one hand. I had a cock in my mouth, and I had A's person in my hand. Like I was playing with her while she was getting fucked, while I was getting fucked. And it was just this orgy of bodies. And it's one of those things where there are times in the evening that the crowd starts to disperse and there's more controlled energy. Because sometimes it's very difficult to get an orgy feeling going in an area when there are so many people who want to join in that eventually it becomes just too cramped to move around. So as the party tends to wind down, there's this moment, this golden moment when you have the right number of bodies and you're the right number of people on the right number of, and it ends up being very, very hot, very, very amazing. And it is sex, and it is movement, and it's fun. And I am very excited that when stuff like that happens. And so for the ending of the night to be that sort of like orgasmic, orgy, it was great. It was an awesome ending to an awesome night. "Oh my God, that's good pussy," he said as he pushed into the soft, swollen liquid heat. He must have been the 5th or 6th guy in line today, because every cock that moved into this sheath made it that much more wet, soft, and swollen. She was not keeping score, as there would be no way to keep score in the frantic pace of the party. Most of the guys were there to puff, puff, pass, as it were. Give her an orgasm and then move on before losing your own load. That's the motto. But sinking into this wet deliciousness, knowing that when she got off, it would just get wetter, more swollen, more tight. It would grip harder. It would flutter softly, creating that sensation of chills racing up and down his cock. It was an exciting prospect, and one he couldn't wait to explore. But for right now, he just wanted to savor. He just wanted to savor the feel of her wrapped around him so tightly, so wetly, feeling that sheath as it rippled along his long, strong cock. He knew as soon as he started to move that her flesh would begin to wobble, her tits would begin to bounce, her ass would give under the pressure of his hips, sliding forward, and she would be all motion and wobble. It was anticipating that first taste of Christmas morning. It was that excitement that builds. But in this moment, that savoring is all he wanted, to savor how delicious this pussy felt, how tempting this vision was. Soon, things would be completely in motion, completely Newton's law, staying in motion, moving backwards, forwards. There would be draw and pull and clamping and gushing. But for this moment when his cock slid into this perfect specimen of a pussy, he just wanted to savor that moment a little bit longer than he probably should have. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions or just want to reach out and tell me your story, please feel free. You can reach me at pineapplepinuppod@gmail.com, or you can reach me at any one of my socials. All of them are listed in the description of my show. There have been several people who have reached out to me to ask me about my FetLife name, and I am willing to give that out to you. I'm not sure if I should put it out on the podcast yet, so I will I'm still debating that one. But if you'd like to know what it is, and you're more than welcome to stop by and come check me out on FetLife, just reach out to me and I'll tell you my Fet name.